It's time with JMU Hall of Famer Delvin Joyce.
Joyce breaks a tackle and goes in for a touchdown. Another spectacular run by Delvin Joyce.
Alongside one of the best signal callers in JMU history.
Thad Lee, he's got plenty of room across the 50 to the 40. He should make it all the way to the 20, 15, 10, 5. Touchdown, James Madison University.
Together, the duo bring their unique perspective to the podcast, breaking down all the things they're seeing about JMU football. This is To the House. Now, here's Delvin Joyce with Thad Lee.
What's going on, JMU Nation? Welcome to this Battle of the Blue Ridge Rivalry Victory Monday on the To the House podcast. I am your host, Delvin Joyce, the People's Choice. I am joined by future JMU Hall of Famer, quarterback extraordinaire, Thad Lee. What's happening, Thad?
What's up, brother? Man, we got the dub. That's what's up.
Man,
and you know, I love your intro, by the way, because I'm told in order to become a Hall of Famer, you got to hang out with Hall of Famers. So that's right. I'm on the right track so far. So I appreciate you, man.
Why do you think we invited you to the pod?
I appreciate it, bro. I appreciate it. This must be my way in, right?
This is it, man. We got to get you that purple jacket. So,
all right, I appreciate it. By the way, happy birthday. We cannot let this go by. My man Delvin Joyce, happy JMU To the House birthday. How old are you, bro?
Thank you, sir. Man, I am, it was actually the 26th anniversary of my 21st birthday. So for those of you doing math, you can figure that one out. But, the Dukes never let me down on my birthday, man, right? So, my birthday obviously was yesterday on Sunday, September 21st. But if you remember, last year we had a big game on September 21st at UNC Chapel Hill.
Yeah, man.
And I was there in full effect watching them drop 70, and that was like the best birthday gift ever.
Bro, that was amazing. I was actually in Georgia watching at my best friend's house, and they had the big screen. We had children all everywhere. I think total we got like 8 or 9 children total together, and so it was just that was fun. Have you ever lost on your birthday when you were playing? Did you always win?
You know what's funny? I don't remember ever having a game on my birthday. I think I never had a game on my birthday, which is weird. Gotcha. But, yeah, I don't know. That's a good stat, though. I'll have to go back and look at that. But, of course, the Dukes pulled out the win at Liberty. And I got to say, man, thank you, Bob Chesney. Thank you, because this was the one that we could not lose, man. I mean, when I tell you I've been talking crap to 12-year-olds on Instagram about this game, for the last 3-4 years, right? And so for us to come out on top meant so much to me, man. And, again, to actually win by several scores, I think was also very important because I wanted to distance our program from that Liberty program. So, I guess let's start there, man. What were some of your high-level thoughts about the game, the atmosphere, what you saw on Saturday?
Yeah, shout out to the coaching staff. I love how you started there. I think the coaches had a phenomenal game plan going into Liberty's game. It was tight early on. I was kind of keeping up on my phone. Unfortunately, I couldn't watch it at live because I was actually doing the commentary for the Citadel football game on ESPN Plus. So I was a little nervous.
Time. You big time, bro. You big time.
No,
I love that.
I'm not like you, Delvin, where you get in JMU. But no, I was a little nervous, looking at my phone, being that I wasn't there. I was a little nervous at first. It was 3-3, and then they went up 10-3. And then we had to score right before halftime, which, by the way, amazing catch, Landon Ellis. I'm sure we're going to get into that.
Yeah.
But I thought that the game plan was really well. And even coming out of halftime, I thought the coaches did a phenomenal job adjusting to what Liberty was trying to do to us on offense and defense and both and special teams as well. So shout out to the coaching staff. Hey, man, I'll let you kind of lead into it where we go next. But I'm excited to just kind of dive deeper into this game.
Yeah, man, totally. And, the cool thing was I thought they had a really good atmosphere there, man. I know I gave them a lot of crap. I challenged them to sell out their stadium. They sold the game out, right, thanks to us, but you're welcome. But well done. I thought it was a great atmosphere. I thought their fans were really into it, right? I thought their players were also really into it, which was cool to see. Yeah. Those Liberty kids showed up to play football, and they showed up to win a game. And you could tell that, you know, some of the personal, I won't say personal, but some of the, I guess, rivalry stuff actually fed from the fans into the players. I honestly, I felt like it meant more to Liberty than it did. I felt like they were more fired up at the beginning of the game than we actually were.
Well, you kind of got to, right? If you're coming into this game, if you're a Liberty player, all the talk is about JMU, and all the talk, if it is about Liberty, even from your own fan base, all the talk is, man, we need to get it together. What the heck are we doing? Like we're not playing up to par. So it was really kind of almost like unfair advantage for JMU coming into the game, because Liberty fans almost had to defend themselves instead of being confident going into the game. Whereas JMU, we were extremely confident going into this game. We were extremely like, hey, man, we can't wait to play this game. It's been a long time. And also, the last time JMU and Liberty played, they beat us, right? And
yeah.
I guess when I say us, I'm talking about me, and particularly the 2014.
Yeah, don't put that on me. Don't put me in us.
I felt you about to say something, so I was just like, let me just do it, because I don't want to hear it from you. But man, they came in strong, and that atmosphere at Liberty is pretty. And I got to be careful if I say Liberty too fast. I might go Liberty Bibbity. But the atmosphere was amazing. I was able to watch the pregame and postgame show that they put on a phenomenal production. I was actually a part of it one week, and so I'm familiar with those guys, and I thought they did an amazing job. They get the mic up the guys while they're on the field, which is pretty cool. And quite frankly, Delvin, I think we need to step up our game. I think that you and I need to maybe that may need to be in the works in the future here, because I absolutely love their post and pregame show. So shout out to the Liberty Flames Central Network. They do a great job.
Yeah. And so again, Matt Roan, I hope you listen to the House podcast. I mean, I think that would be a fantastic idea to create that same type of pre and post game sort of college game day atmosphere. We got the tailgating, we got the kids, we got the students. Let's do the same thing, man. I think it's an easy win for the game atmosphere. The only thing I will say about that game, man, I mean, first off, shout out to all the JMU fans that showed up, man. We kind of made, I think it was called a Sea of Red. It's a Liberty fan page on Twitter. And they kind of quoted you and I. I guess they were trying to get some billboard material for the team, because you said there would be a sea of purple. And so they took your quote from this pod last week and put it on their page, which I thought was cool. But guess what? There was a sea of purple at that game. So shout out to all the JMU fans who went there and were loud and proud. And, man, I got to say, man, Liberty, whoever does your music in the stadium, bro, like, I'm a big Mumford & Sons fan. But every time I turned around, bro, Mumford & Sons was coming across the loudspeaker. And when I think about getting hype at a football game, Mumford & Sons is not my first choice. So, I mean, y'all got to do better than that, bro. I mean, that was funny. Right on cue. The jokes write themselves, right? But,
no doubt. There was a lot of back and forth going on this week. And I personally had fun, kind of like, I even dabbled in there a little bit, and I just had fun. I thought that, people are saying it's not a rivalry. Even you on like, man, this is not a rivalry, which I get. How many games we've won now? 13?
Now we've won 13, and they've won 6. You got to beat me every now and then to be a rivalry.
Hey, man, to be fair, man, it felt like a rivalry. It felt like bad blood. It felt like, people were going at each other on Twitter and different things. Even they cut up our clip, like you said. And so I felt as though the game, it lived up to what we all thought what will happen, what we all thought the outcome would be. And I say all, especially the JMU side of folks. But it did feel as though it was like that brotherly love. Even take the score, 31-13. You just flip that bad boy. You got the same numbers, but different order. But it was fun, man. It really was. It was a great production to watch on TV. I wish I was there in person. But next time, man. But JMU, man, they definitely. They definitely, again, the coaching staff, I thought the game plan was well. The offense, defense, special teams, everybody showed up this game. Yeah. And that's what we wanted to see.
Yeah, we'll dive into it, man. I really wanted to be there as well. My son had another cross-country another statewide cross-country meet in Raleigh on Saturday. And, bro, as much as I want to go watch somebody else's kids play, I can't ignore my kid in his sport to go watch somebody else's kids play football.
Dad of the year right there. Let's just take a moment to give the Dad of the Year trophy to Delvin Joyce.
Please,
awesome.
please. And he got another PR, man. So second PR of the year for his cross country. And so for me to have to miss that, I couldn't do it. But
that's awesome.
But anyway, I got a chance to watch it on TV. And so let's get into it, man. So you said it, the game plan I thought was really well executed. And the first thing that I'm going to say about the game plan from an offensive standpoint, the one thing that really, really stood out is that we had a one quarterback system. And we came into this season, all the talk was two quarterbacks. We're going to be able to keep defenses off balance because we got Sluka, we got Barnett. We're going to be able to force teams to game plan for two different quarterbacks. And we saw it in the first two games of the season. We go into the bye, right? Especially after there was a lot of criticism about this two quarterback system at Louisville. And then we come out of the bye and come into this game. And the adjustment is Alonzo Barnett takes 100% of the snaps at quarterback. Matthew Sluka takes 0. Was that a surprise for you, Vad, that Matthew Sluka goes from getting almost half the snaps at Louisville and gets 0 snaps here?
You know, it was a surprise to me just based on what they've shown the first two games of the season. And not just based on what we've shown the first two games of the season, but based on Liberty's defense going into this game, one of my keys was we have to establish the run game and we have to run the ball. I did not feel like that they were very physical up front, and so I felt as though we could control the game by running the ball. Now, I made it clear we have to run the ball with our running backs. And Coach Chesney and Coach Offense Coordinator Kennedy, they ran the ball with the running backs, and they controlled the game. When you do that, you control the game. So I will say it was a surprise. Now, am I satisfied? Do I feel good? Am I happy that, the one quarterback system? It doesn't matter if I'm happy about it, but hey, I was pleased to see it because I do believe that you needed to choose a quarterback. And based on the last game, it felt almost like an experiment. Right. And I'm so glad to see that the experiment seems to be kind of over at this point. And also the other thing to that, too, Delvin, is, I heard a lot of noise just about like, which one do you go with? And also, like, I don't care which one you choose. Personally, I cared. Right. I cared because we have the running backs that are able to carry the load. But we also need to be able to pass the ball as well. And we've have somebody back there that has been a proven passer, not taken away against anybody else or not taken away against Matthew Sluka, but we have a guy that has been able to do it consistently. Has he had some bad games? Yes. But has he had some great games and showed the potential that he has? He's had that more than he had bad. So I'm not on the camp of getting on a guy, in terms of focusing on what he can't do, but more focused on what he can do. And we knew going into this game that Alonzo Barnett, we knew what he can do. And so, I enjoyed seeing that one quarterback system.
Man, I really enjoyed it too. And you said, are you happy? I am ecstatic because I finally saw what I thought this offense could actually be, especially if we could establish a rhythm and create a game plan around one quarterback. I mean, you said it. We handed the ball off to the running backs, and they ran the ball effectively. Yeah. Right? Wayne Knight had 89 yards rushing in the game. Adey had 87 yards rushing in the game. I think Petaway got banged up, which is concerning, so he didn't get a lot of snaps. But we had two running backs that carried the majority of the load from a rushing standpoint. But then we also saw our quarterback get the ball to multiple receivers. We had 7 receivers who caught passes. I think 5 of them caught over 3 passes in the game. And so we are spreading the ball around to these weapons that we've heard so much about. Yeah. And then lastly, the last thing I'll say about Barnett at quarterback, because of that rhythm, number one, I said last week that his body language in that Louisville game was of a guy at quarterback who did not feel like it was his team. And if you go back and watch this game, bro, and watch his body language, the swagger, and everything that he was doing on that field, you could tell that he felt like, this is my team, and I know that if I get a chance to play and prove it, I will lead this team to victory. And that was big for me to see from him.
Yeah, anytime you see Alonzo Barnett doing the 1-2 step, and anytime you see him dancing, and last year at UNC it was a lot of rolling, right? Anytime you see that, that means the guy's having fun. That means that he understands the system. That means he's doing something successful and well. And he leads with emotion, even from that interception that he had down there in the goal line. I seen him kind of put his hand on his helmet, like, what just happened? But watching the post game, I enjoyed hearing Coach Chesney even say you can't fully put that interception on him, which I got to dive more into that play. I haven't dove more into it. I'm trying to figure out, why he made that comment, because, things kind of developed late on that play. But I at least enjoyed that he had his back on that, right?
Yeah, I mean, it developed late, and Pfeiffer was open to start the play. But I think Pfeiffer was like his third progression in that. And so he came to that third progression, and they made a simultaneous catch. Yeah, I mean, great play by Liberty. Also, you went into the pass game. Let's go back a step, because, our quarterback is athletic too. It's almost as if these first couple of weeks, it was deemed. I even heard Coach Chadwell, he made a comment and said, we want to make them uncomfortable, and we want to make their passer make him run, and we want to make the runner pass. Yeah.
Right? And it's almost this whole thing like Alonzo Barnett can't move all of a sudden because we added another athletic quarterback into the QB room. And that is not true. This guy rushed for, I think, 450 yards last year, which was top 4 in the Sun Belt Conference out of the quarterback position. And so Alonzo Barnett was able to show the wheels as well. His longest rush of the day was 28 yards, which he pulled it down and was able to make a play. Now, he's not a guy that we're trying to run QB power with. Not at all. He's a guy that can extend the play when you do well on defense and your coverage is going well. He's a guy that now can take off and burn you, and that deflates a defense when you done everything right? When you got the right receivers covered, you knew what play was coming, and then all of a sudden the quarterback takes off for 28 yards. That deflates a defense. And so props to Alonzo for sitting in a pocket. There was a couple passes where he was able to sit in a pocket and deliver the throw. But there was also some times where, some of the discussion going into this week is, he kind of sometimes get dead feet. Well, he was able to show that he's elusive as well. And now 10 months from that ACL surgery, he's only going to continue to get better and continue to feel that rhythm as a mobile quarterback, not a dual. I don't even want to use the phrase dual threat. As a mobile quarterback, he's now able to make plays mobile and through the pass game.
I love that framing, by the way, mobile quarterback versus dual threat, right? And so I do love that. I do think he's a mobile quarterback, not necessarily a dual threat. But I also believe that the fact that, we ran a one quarterback system, he's even more of a threat to run the ball.
Yeah.
Right? Like we actually ran QB power a couple of times with Barnett in this game. And it was so much more effective because the defense had to obviously respect the fact that this guy could throw the ball. I've said long, as soon as we started this pod, like I like QB power, but I like QB power the way Tennessee runs QB power with Joey Aguilar, who is their starting primary quarterback who can throw the ball. And the reason it works is because the defense has to stay honest. As soon as Matthew Sluka goes into the game, all bets are off. I will say this, though, man. What you talked about, Jamie Chadwell's comments before the game about making the running quarterback throw the ball and making the throwing quarterback run the ball, man, I got to say, you have to believe that Liberty spent an enormous amount of time this past week game planning for both quarterbacks.
Oh, absolutely.
So they had to, right? And then for us not to even put Matthew Sluka out there once, that means that I would say at least 30 to 40% of their practice this week on defense was wasted.
Yeah.
I mean, so again, we've talked a lot of crap about two quarterback system, but that's some 5D chess right there. So not play him at all.
Absolutely. It's almost like a slap in the face. That is a chess move. That is a Bob chess move, right? Literally playing chess on them, right? They spent 40%, probably 40% on a Matthew Sluka package. And you have to believe that you're going to continue with the two quarterback system, especially given the history between Coach Chesney and Matthew Sluka, especially the first few games. Louisville is in the ACC, and we went with the two quarterback system. Why would you think coming into this game of playing against a Liberty team who's down right now that you wouldn't play in a two quarterback system? So it almost feels like a Bob chess move where it's like a slap in the face where it's like, bro, I just spent time with my defense, preparing for this elusive quarterback in Matthew Sluka, where here you got your guy that towards ACL, he's running, he had 45 yards rushing, right, on just 5 carries. And so I thought it was a great change up for the coaching staff, which we started this show giving props to the coaching staff. I thought it was a great change up, and I think everybody left happy, including Alonzo Barnett, including JMU faithful, and including the old former quarterback as well.
Yeah, man, that was amazing. And to that point, man, you got to think Georgia Southern right now, preparing for this game, has no idea what to do, right? They're like, what film do we study? Do we study this Louisville film? Do we study Weber State, where Matthew Sluga only ran like 12 plays? Do we study this? I mean, they have no idea. So, all right, props to the two quarterback system. That was phenomenal. And, who knows what's going to happen at Georgia Southern. What I did love, though, this week, I mean, we had talked about intermediate passing routes. I wanted to see it look easy. Yeah. Right? Because, I'm watching college football and all these other teams are just tossing the ball to the receivers, making plays, letting them make yards after catch. And that's what we saw in this week, right? We got Nick DeGennaro involved. We got Jaylon Sanchez involved. We got Landon Ellis involved. We got Lakota Dupree involved. And we spread the ball around to the people who are the playmakers. And so I really, really was excited to see that. And now, for me, I have confidence that we can move the ball up and down the field and score points, which is what we're going to need to do in this Sun Belt.
Well, and that's what comes with rhythm, right? We talked about rhythm coming into this game. When you have the rhythm as a quarterback, the ball is in your hands, or at least it's designed for the ball to be in your hands every play. The center, give it to the quarterback. And when you have – there was a reason why I fell in love with the quarterback position. I fell in love with it is because I knew that – you kind of got to be a little selfish to play quarterback. I knew that the ball was going to be in my hand every play, and I trusted my ability to lead, not be selfish in a way of like, hey, bro, just give me the ball because I just want to steal the show. Or I just want the spotlight. But it's more about I believe that I could be the best option to deliver the ball to the playmakers and everybody else. And so as a quarterback, when you get the rhythm of the ball, that's when you start to scramble. That's when you start to run. The last couple of weeks I was sharing, when you get a pass play, but you haven't been in much of the game, when you get a pass play, you're going to force the ball in some type of area because you only got one shot, right? Now, when you know that you have a rhythm, if I take off, I'm going to get another. If I take off for this first down, I'm going to get another opportunity to pass the ball. So it's all good. It's all good. And so I really thought the biggest thing, you talked about the intermediate routes, the biggest thing that I enjoyed was seeing the ball placement of Alonzo Barnett. I thought that the ball placement was extremely well. There was one time that the tight end, I think it was Lakota, he was covered. He had like two guys on him, but the ball placement was perfect for a big third down. It was perfect, right? Landon Ellis, his touchdown right before the half. This is a tall receiver. Alonzo Barnett put the ball where only he could catch the ball. And so when we talk about playing quarterback, there's so much more that goes into just playing the QB position, but there's a level of aim and accuracy and ball placement that you have to do well in order to be efficient. And I thought that he was extremely efficient, 17 for 25, 213 yards. We're not asking him to be a superhero. We're not asking him to go and win the game by himself. We're just asking him to deliver the ball. And from this game plan, it seemed as though hey, we're not asking you to be Superman. We just want you to do what you do and do what you continue to do and be efficient with the ball and get the ball out of your hands. The biggest thing, last thing I'll say is, no, there was 0 sacks.
0 sacks.
Shout out to the offensive line. 0 sacks. I think that, again, that complements the one quarterback system because now I have rhythm to move in the pocket. I can be elusive. I can make a guy miss. I know I'm not going to the sideline. I don't have any worries. And so I just enjoyed everything about it. And I think that, this was one of those games where you can kind of look back and say, okay, we played up to our potential. Maybe not our best game, but we played up to our potential of what we can do. And now you're going into the Sun Belt play feeling pretty confident. All right, this JMU team is for real again.
Yeah, and the reason we don't need him to be a hero and win the game is because we had an efficient running game, right? We were very efficient on first down. We got ahead of the chains just about on every drive. It was a little disappointing in the first half that we only scored 10 points because we moved the ball up and down the field. One time we got a field goal out of it, and the next time we threw an interception in the red zone, right? And so that was a little disappointing. But in the second half, we moved the ball and actually turned that ball movement into actual points. The other thing that I wanted to ask you, you just brought this up. You fell in love with that quarterback position, right? Like, when you were recruited out of high school, were there other schools that were recruiting you to play other positions other than quarterback?
Yeah, absolutely. So when I was in high school at Hillside High School in Durham, my sophomore year, I played wide receiver. And I was a backup quarterback, but we had a senior in front of me that was better than me, and he ended up getting a scholarship offer to Duke. And so he was very talented, but my coaches came to me and said, hey, we want to get you some experience because you're going to be the guy. Like, I practiced at quarterback, but I played at receiver in the games. And so my sophomore year, I ended up having 1,000 yards receiving as a sophomore and I think 11 touchdowns at receiver.
Wow. Get out of here.
Yeah, so I got a lot of SEC offers at receiver, like Georgia, South Carolina. Pretty much all of my SEC offers came at receiver. And so that's why I had a hard time choosing a college, honestly. In fact, UNC broke my heart. Their coach came in, and I was like their top recruit, and one day he started naming everybody on the roster that played quarterback in high school that play a different position now. He never said he would change my position, but I saw the writing on the wall, and I'm like, I'm reading between the lines, and I'm like, why is he sharing this with me? And so, honestly, I was a Tar Heel all day. I was going to the Tar Heels, but they broke my heart with that. And so when Georgia Tech came, even though they ran the triple option system, I've never ran the triple option, by the way, until I arrived at GT. They was like, hey, you're our quarterback. We want to throw the ball more. We want to throw the ball 20 times a game. And so, hey, you're our quarterback. And so for me, recruiting was a little difficult because that's really what I wanted to hear. I wanted to hear that, hey, we believe in you as our quarterback. And so, yeah, I got a bunch of offers from wide receiver, but I wasn't going down that route.
And so the reason I'm asking, man, because that's fascinating to me because I hear this story all the time, right? Good athlete who can play multiple positions, who could go to other schools, gets offers to play other positions, but is so, like, doggone hell-bent on playing quarterback, no matter what. Like, I'll go D3 if I can play quarterback instead of going to Georgia to play receiver, right? Like, I feel like I hear that story a lot, and I think that speaks to the mentality of a quarterback. I mean, you said it. It's not you being selfish, but it's you wanting to be the guy who is in control of the team's success. You can't really control the team's success at receiver, but you can at quarterback. And so, again, for Alonzo Barnett right now, I feel like he has a comfort level after this game that this is my team, I'm the quarterback, let's go win. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, no, I think that confidence level has set the bar for him where he is now – we're going to see way more out of him, all right? It's no longer the ACL story. It's no longer the two-quarterback system story. Now that we wrote this out on film, now that we've seen this, it's going to kind of hard to be playing around when it comes to the quarterback position at JMU. And let me just say this. There was no way I was coming to JMU out of high school because according to my sources, they tell me you wouldn't have been a quarterback at JMU. with the past coaching staff, and I remember.
Did JMU recruit you?
Huh?
Did JMU recruit you out of high school?
I think they did, but I don't think they ever offered me because I had like the big offers or whatever. So I don't know if they ever.
Yeah.
But it was funny when I transferred to JMU, all the guys used to joke around and tell me like, "Yeah, bro, you want to play quarterback here?" I'm like, "What? What do you mean? Like, y'all tripping?"
Yeah, Mickey would have had you at receiver, my guy.
Well, here's the thing. I met Mickey like years later when I was in the XFL, and the first thing he said to me is, "Man, you know, now that I look at you, why didn't you play safety? Or, you know, what? I would have made you a hell of a safety." I said, "Because I'm a record-breaking quarterback at James Madison." Like what are we talking about here?
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, man, Mickey, gotta love Mickey, man. He's gonna get the best out of you, though. But man, that's hilarious.
Yeah, man. So I just had
you met Mickey for the first time when you were in the XFL. That's hilarious.
Yeah, he was coaching. Yeah, he was coaching linebackers for the Dallas team, and this was maybe in 2020, right before COVID, actually.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's so funny, man. And by the way, now you're making me feel real old because, you know, I'm 47 yesterday, and you were playing football 5 years ago. I mean, that's just crazy to me.
That is hilarious. Well, shout out to the New York Giants helmet back there. I don't think we ever put it together, but the only team that I got a chance with in NFL was the Giants, and I know you had a killer career there, so I love seeing that helmet in the background.
Yeah, well, you know, I created the lineage for James Madison players, man. What I'm saying? Like, they're like, we got good history with JMU kids. But
hey, man, I appreciate you, bro.
Oh, man, that's awesome. So let's talk about the defense. Let's switch sides. By the way, I don't want to leave the offense real quick without talking about Io Adey, man, because I think he had his best game in a JMU uniform this week, right? I think it was 87 yards. And on a lot of those runs, I mean, he looked solid. Like, great vision. To find some holes, patient running. Like, I really, really enjoyed seeing him run the ball and run the ball with authority as a little guy. Like, that dude is short. I mean, he's not small, but he's short, and he ran the ball really, really well. Yeah,
he had the second longest run of the day at 24 yards. As you mentioned, he had 83 yards, 87 yards rushing on just 13 attempts. And so, again, we have a plethora of running backs that can get the job done. And it's really cool when we rotate those guys because you never know which one is going to go for 100. And it seems like they don't even go for 100. Which one is going to go for 80? Which two are going to go for 80? You know, which the third guy is going to go for another 40. It's really unique with the running back committee. And shout out again to my old teammate, David Sims, who's the running back coach at JMU. He's done a phenomenal job of rotating those guys and really feeding whichever one is the hot guy. And it seems like every Saturday there's a different one that's going to be the guy. And so that's pretty cool.
There's a different one. Yeah, it was very interesting, though, that Joby Mallory was in street clothes on the sideline. So I don't know if he's banged up. Now George Pettaway is banged up, and we didn't see Jordan Fuller. All right, and so it looks like we got three running backs. I don't know if Jordan Fuller was dressed out or not, but he was the feature back against Louisville, and then he doesn't even play in this game, right? So very curious to see what's going on in the running back room and what we'll see at Georgia Southern next week. But
where everybody want to talk about the 2 quarterback system, but now everybody want to talk about the 4 or 5 running back system that we have.
Hey, I'm okay with that one, man. Running back by committee, baby. I'm good with that. But,
I love it.
You know, the defense, again, I thought the defense had another really, really solid performance in this game. I think right now, if you look at them nationally, how they are ranked, they are the number 6 defense in the country for yards allowed per game. And there's no other G6 program even in the top 15. So, again, I know we don't have a lot of opportunities for quality wins coming down the stretch this season, but I do think that if we can stay in that top 10 defense, right, we blow some teams out, we have a top-rated defense, maybe even squeak our offense into some top ratings nationally, that will actually mean something to that CFP committee that when they're voting at the end of the season. So I think that's really important. But they only gave up 158 yards rushing, but most of that was from QB scrambles, literally on Liberty's first drive.
Yeah.
I mean, like Vasco, the kid just broke free for like 17 here, 19 there. and then they kind of shut that down.
Yeah.
Right. But it wasn't a running back taking a handoff going for 20 or 30.
Absolutely. I thought our defense was solid, just solid. Going into this game, Vasco, we talked about the transfer from Coastal Carolina. He's played JMU, I think, 3 or 4 times, and he hasn't had great games against JMU. And it seemed like that he came out on fire. When I say on fire, he came out more like fired up. Like, I'm a run through you, I'm a truck you. I'm kind of playing angry, kind of mad, right? Because I haven't had much success on this JMU team, but I've played them multiple times, and now I'm with a new team. So now I got a chance to recreate the slate, start over, start fresh. And so it was unfortunate to see him go out. I would have loved to see him stay healthy, and there's no, hey, you guys only won because of this or whatever like that. But we held Liberty's offense to 75 yards passing. That is big time. Under 100 yards passing is big time, especially when you're losing the game. Typically, when you're losing, you start passing the ball even more, and you start putting the ball up in the air. Yeah, and so that didn't happen. And right now I believe we're ranked second nationally in passing yards per game, which is right over 100 yards. And so the defense was solid. How about Aiden Gobira? 2 sacks.
Yeah.
I think that was his first sacks of his career. When you get one, it's just like you kind of keep rolling from there. You get another one. And so I was really happy and pleased to see that guy. He's from Virginia, playing against a Virginia team, playing with the Virginia team now, and I was happy to see him have some success.
And he's got another year eligibility, right? So, that kid can ball. He said JMU helped him to fall back in love with football again. Hopefully he stays in a JMU uniform, after this season, because I think, to your point, we saw the physicality that we were expecting to see from him, and for him to get to the quarterback and get 2 sacks, I thought was huge. I was really concerned, because Vasco had success on that first drive just scrambling and extending plays. If you go back to what I said last week, the key to us winning, especially on defense, would be keeping Vasco in the pocket, because I knew he would want to get out of the pocket. I knew he would want to scramble, and I knew he would want to be physical when he was running the ball. And if I were to fast forward and skip ahead a little bit, the way that he was able to break free a couple of times kind of concerns me about Old Dominion and Colton Joseph, because that's his ball game. The difference, I think, is that Colton Joseph can also sling it, right? And he's not afraid to throw it. And so hopefully, this was good preparation for 2 weeks down the road or 3 weeks down the road when we actually play Old Dominion. You said something, though. I did see this pop up on a couple of these, message boards. And by the way, I try to stay off social media, man, because it's so toxic. Right? But every now and then I get sucked in. And so I did see some Liberty fans like, oh, if our starting quarterback hadn't gotten hurt and all this stuff. And you know what? Again, I hope Ethan Vasco is okay, right? I wish that kid well, but he didn't get hurt. We hurt him, right? Like, we put him out of the game. Like we put him out of the game on a sack. Like, protect your quarterback. Like, that's a part of the game. Protect your quarterback, and maybe he doesn't get hurt, right? That's the first thing I would say. But I think the second thing is, bro, he had 37 yards passing when he got hurt. Like, you lost your starting quarterback. It's not like he was out there torching us.
Right.
Right? And you had something to look forward to in the second half. The guy had 37 yards passing in the first half.
Yeah.
Give me a break. And somehow Texas Tech lost their starting quarterback this week and found a way to win. Also, Syracuse, they lost their starting quarterback and found a way to win with their backup. So recruit a better backup is what I'm going to say. All right? So I was actually sorry, go ahead.
Dang. I'm just taking it all in. I'm just like, no comment. Just keep going.
Man, I'm not a Liberty fan, man. I'm not a Liberty fan.
This guy is not a Liberty fan at all, and neither am I, by the way. However, obviously, I got a soft heart when guys go down. I know you do too.
No, of course.
But to your point, I think the biggest point that you made was, statistically, it wasn't looking pretty already. So how much better, or how much, where was it going to go from there? JMU held them on third down. I think they were, 3 for 19 on third down compared to us,
right.
6 for 11. So
right.
when you look at those statistics alone, that kind of tells you how the game is going, right? That tells me that you guys either need a big play because if it gets to third down, you're not going to be very successful. And for us, we're over 50% on those third down attempts. And so I think that highlights just some of the game. And, yeah, I mean, they talked about it in the pregame show, coming from Liberty's production, can Vasco, can he sustain, just running the ball if the offensive line isn't protecting him? And they actually talked about it in the pregame show, and one of the gentlemen said no, he's not going to be sustained, and that's coming from the Liberty side of things, and it played out in the game. And just shout out to our defense though, bringing the hammer, right? Trent Hendricks, I mean, this guy continues to show up week in and week out. And I just stick by my comments about Jacob Thomas. There's not another player that's on the field that's more NFL ready than Jacob Thomas. It just seems as though he is always near the ball. It seems as though he is a leader, and he's a leader that doesn't use a lot of words. He leads by example. But Trent is a guy who he's going to talk. He's going to get in your face. He's going to celebrate. He got a dance move to go along. He is a fun player to watch. In the pregame they talked about, he said that his mom makes a good smothered chicken, and he loves cooking some steaks and potatoes and some salmon. Well, he deserved that. He deserves that after this performance. And so really, I mean, special guys on that defensive side of the ball.
And I don't know who's running JMU football social media, but, man, fire job with the Trent Hendrick photo shoot in the Blue Ridge Mountains. Like, that was super dope. Like, I reposted it on my Instagram story. Yeah, that was fire.
Also with they put the lyrics, ain't no mountain high enough or something like that. All I could think about was remember the Titans back in the day, and just it was really old school. He seems like an old school type of player, right? He's just kind of like just really, really great leader. Defense did an unbelievable job. I mean, 75 yards passing, and I mean they really couldn't do anything outside of that first drive.
Yeah, I mean, there were some schemes that they ran up front. They ran a lot of trap plays. I don't know if you watch how they were breaking the running back free. They were running some trap schemes up front, and our defense was falling hook, line, and sinker for some of those. And they got a lot of running room, with their running back. The good news is that we have very sure tacklers at that second level.
Absolutely.
So while it looked like, man, it was weird to see their running back Dickens break off 5-6 yards here, 4 yards there. He wasn't getting to the second level. There were no explosive plays for Liberty in that game at all. And so I think that was a big part of the success. I'll tell you the other part of it too, man, was Elijah Culp. I mean, this kid at cornerback, like our secondary is playing really well. So you talked about Jacob Thomas. We also got to talk about Tyler Brown. We also got to talk about Elijah Culp, though, because, once again, this guy plays super physical. He comes up in the run fit a lot, and it's very rare that you get a cornerback who likes to cover people and lock them down, right? The little seatbelt thing they do.
Yeah.
You very rarely get a guy that does all that who also likes to come up in the run foot and actually make plays.
Yeah.
Dude makes plays.
Yeah.
And I got a special place in my heart for him because he went to my kids' high school. He went to Mallet Creek High School here in Charlotte. So I saw him play in high school, but just a good overall tough, hard-nosed cornerback.
Yeah. Well, I love the Mallet Creek shout out. Putting this all together, UNC broke my heart, right? I shared that story. Well, they went after a Mallet Creek quarterback and brought him in. So,
really? Who was it?
I got love for Marquise Williams. We were the top 3 quarterbacks.
That's
in
right.
North Carolina. Yeah. So it was between me and him.
He was a monster. It's funny, man. I watched that kid play in Little League. He played on my nephew who went to JMU. He played on his Little League team, so I watched that kid play in Little League.
Talk about old man, 47. I mean, just let you know, him and I are part of the same class. So, I mean, you could have watched me in Little League too, bro. You could have came right to Durham, 2.5 hours, and you could have watched me too.
I forgot all about that kid, man. Where is he? Did he end up getting a shot?
He played a little bit in the NFL, like preseason, I believe. He might have stayed around for maybe 2 years or maybe a year. But I think he's back in Charlotte. I think he's doing well for himself.
Bro, it's funny, man, because he was young back then, right? Because my nephew was older than him. He was young. And his dad and I would be on the sideline. His dad, everybody's son is like God's gift, right?
Oh, no doubt.
And his dad was chewing me up on the sideline every day, like, yo, my son, my son, my son. And then so to see that kid actually do it
No, he did well.
is pretty special, man.
He had a great career. Shout out to Mallett Creek. That's awesome. And going back to the Dukes, man, you talked about the defensive backs, man. You talk about the second level. I love that. It seems like on the front line, we've been figuring it out as the game goes by. It seems as though we've needed more experience week after week, and we're getting better.
Right.
But from the very first week, we seen those guys in the secondary. We've seen those guys play consistent, even going to a Louisville team that had some athletes, and those guys were locking them up. They were playing consistently in that second level. And so, you talked about England, you talked about Jacob Thomas, you talk about Elijah Cope. I mean, all of these guys, Tyler Brown, all of these guys have done such an amazing job all year, and they're probably the most consistent group that I've seen so far on this James Madison football team.
Yeah, and I also love Spanagati, man. I mean, the guy shows up like a missile and just makes plays. Like when they run that A-gap blitz with Spanagati, the guy makes freaking plays in the backfield. So I love that dude, man. They play with attitude. And so, again, if I have any concerns, the concerns right now are not on defense. And my only concern is that I want our defense to go out and dominate, stay in that, maybe even break into the top 5 in the country. And I think we're going to do well, man. Special teams, by the way, I thought they played well. Pat and Mo, they did their job, right? Pat, I think Pat, the punter, he punted some great balls. I mean, he kicked it really well. And then Mo, I think he made a field goal, right? Mm-hmm. So again, what else can you ask for?
Yeah.
Looks solid.
Yeah. Special teams look solid. I don't really have a lot to go there. I think we might have had some concerns like early on. I mean, we made national news with that Louisville, in the Louisville game with the what was it, a 1-yard punt? But special teams was solid this week, and really good to see those guys just take care of business. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, man. So of course, now, again, we got this Georgia Southern game coming up. So let's transition now to Georgia Southern. Before I go there, man, again, Bob Chesney, thank you. We cannot lose that Liberty game. I don't even want to play these guys every year, right? Like, I'm excited about the Battle of the Blue Ridge, but I don't want to give up a non-con game to these guys 9 times over 15 years, right? I think Jack Fitzpatrick said that on JMU Sports News. I'd be okay playing them 5 times over the next 15 years, but 9 times, I'd much rather play somebody much more sexy and exciting than Liberty, 9 times in 15 years.
Sure.
But Georgia Southern coming to the house, right? Coming to Harrisonburg. Thank God we're playing them in Harrisonburg because we do not play well in Statesboro, Georgia. And, Vat, have you had a chance to look at Georgia Southern this season?
I have not watched them extensively, but I did take a look at their Jackson State game. And I think I watched another game. The interesting thing about this team is they have played all night games thus far.
Yeah.
And they have been out to the West Coast, right? They've been playing like different night games. This is their first time that they're going to play a daylight game. And so
Well, the USC game was a daylight game.
Was it?
I think. Yeah, I watched that game.
It was at 7.
7 p.m. Eastern.
Yeah.
4 p.m. West Coast time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, they're an Eastern team, so that's still nighttime for them. All right, that's still nighttime, and so
their circadian rhythm was at nighttime. Yeah, I got it.
No doubt. So I would like to think that the advantage is JMU on that. JMU they got JMU's number 9-2 all time, right? The record all time,
Yeah.
and I think like you talked about, we play them better at home. I think we won those 2 games at home, and so this is always a team that's on your calendar that you just gotta bring it, bro, because you just never know what's gonna happen with this Georgia State football team. And shout out to Brian Shore, the national championship quarterback for JMU, who I was teammates with. He's the tight ends coach at Georgia Southern.
Yeah, that's super dope, man. I love seeing him on that sideline having success. Bro's gonna be a head coach here pretty soon. Watch what I tell you.
Oh yeah.
You brought up the night thing, right? The first time they're going to be playing a night game. We made a lot last year about how it seemed like Alonzo Barnett III was a better quarterback during the daytime, and he kind of struggled at night. And, that Liberty game, obviously we had some other things impacting what we thought his performance was. But he didn't play well in that Louisville game, which was a night game. Plays really well in this game, I thought. I thought AB3 played really well at Liberty. I don't know if we said that overtly. Alonzo Barnett balled at Liberty. But it was a daytime game, right? For you as a quarterback, does it matter? And does your visibility of receivers downfield, does that change when it's a night game and you're relying on the stadium lights versus sunlight?
You're going to make me go back now and look at my night games versus day games because I've never even thought about that because as a quarterback, you just don't think about those things, right? I don't think you think about those things as any player, no matter what position. I think we like night games. Typically, players like night games because it is one of those, premier games that, not a lot of games are on TV, not a lot of games are competing with you. And so you kind of feel like, all right, this is, your family's there. They got the tailgate, have a good time, and everybody's just waiting for you to perform. Now, in terms of preparation for the night game, the night game takes forever to come. So in terms of playing, we just want to wake up and go play. And so Alonzo Barnett could be one of those guys where he just want to wake up and go play. I know for me, you start to overthink a little bit when it's night games. Even coaches, I've seen coaches scratch up the game plan the day of the game and say, I think we're going to try this. Let me coach. Come here. Let's have an offensive meeting and we're going to run this play, right? It's like, no, coach, let's do what we've done all week in practice. And so those night games, you start to think a little bit more. You start to overthink. I'm not sure if that is true for Alonzo Barnett. I haven't done those studies or anything. I haven't engaged in that conversation. But that is very interesting because when I even think about my own career, I feel like I probably lost more games at the night. Like Liberty game was at nighttime, right? And I think about the college game day game when we lost to Richmond and I got hurt. That was at night, right? And so but SMU game was at night. And you go out there.
But what about the visibility of it though? As a quarterback, does that matter? I guess.
No. I mean, those lights are pretty bright, and so
So what's the same
deal
for
with eye trouble like Jameis Winston? You got to get the eye LASIK surgery. I don't think that bothers you.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Well, that's good to know, man. Because I got some people in my DMs on Instagram saying AB3 he can't play at night, and I'm like, nah, bro. I think that's a myth. I think that's coincidence. But it's good to hear you say that there's really, as a quarterback, there's no factual, evidence behind that.
No.
Now, so Georgia Southern, man, they are kind of an anomaly right now, I think, because they had two tough games out in California. They played Fresno State in the opener, and then they actually stayed in California. They didn't even come back to Georgia. They stayed in California and then went and played USC. And so they kind of got blown out at Fresno State, which was surprising. They lost that game 42-14. By the way, after being up 14-10, and then Fresno scores 32 unanswered. And the way they did it was with explosive plays. That's a theme that I'm going to come back to that. But Fresno had 527 yards of offense in that game. Yeah. Now, check this out. So now they go to USC. Well, they don't go to USC. They just stay in Cali, right? They have this California vacation. Stay in Cali. They lose 59-20 against USC. And by the way, the talent difference between Georgia Southern, if you watch that game, holy cow, bro. The talent difference between that team at Southern California and Georgia Southern, it's never been more obvious to me. Yeah. USC has elite athletes.
Yeah.
They're tall, they're big, they're lean, and they just out-athleted Georgia Southern. I don't even know if that's a term.
No. I mean, you bring up an interesting point. One of the main questions and of course JMU was FCS when we were playing, but one of the main questions that I got was, what's the difference between the ACC, playing in the ACC versus, coming down a level? And it wasn't much difference, but I will always say speed. Right, when you play certain teams, it wasn't everybody's speed, but when you play certain teams like Miami or a USC, right? Now they got different sets of speeds that's just not even fair. And so you got defensive linemen that are running 4.4s, right? And so that was really the biggest. So when you watch that USC and Georgia Southern game, what I've seen, I saw speed. You know, I saw USC have a run for 36. Then they had another run for 41. Then they had another run for 21. So it was almost like, you better make sure you wrap up really, really good. And when I say wrap up, you wrap up their feet and make sure they can't run, or else it's gone to the house. And what I will say about this Georgia Southern's team is it seems as though they're big play susceptible, right? You got chances to make big plays. And, you know, we talked about USC, Fresno State. They had a run for 31, 29, 25, 25, 24, right? You got these big explosive runs versus Jackson State. I believe. No,
Jacksonville State.
Jacksonville State, sorry. Thank you.
Yeah.
Actually, it was Maine, though. I watched the Maine game, and I believe there was 3 runs for over 20 yards in the first 2 drives.
Right.
And so if we look at what we have to do to beat this team, I believe it comes down to our run game. I think that's just when I think about, I'm going to bring up a name here. When I think about Coach Kurt Segnetti, he does a great job of controlling the game, right?
Yeah.
And I'm talking about everywhere he's been, he controls the game through the run game. And then what happens is that leads to play action passes. And so what I've seen from this Georgia Southern's defense is I see that there has been a overemphasis because they've been getting beat in the run game with big explosive runs. They're obviously in practice overemphasizing gap control and different things of that nature, where I believe that we're going to have a successful day with the play action pass. Because why? We have some great running backs, and we also have a great quarterback that's able to have great ball placement and put the ball over their linebackers.
Yeah, I'm excited about this team's opportunity to go out and get some explosive plays in this game because, I mean, you said it exactly right. This Georgia Southern defense is very, very susceptible to explosive plays. I'm going to maybe give them the benefit of the doubt against USC because the talent difference in that game was just ridiculous. But USC still had 755 yards of total offense in that game.
Yeah, we got to do better.
446 passing and 309 yards on the ground. I don't care how different the talent level is. There's something schematically wrong with your defense if you give up 755 yards FBS versus FBS program, right? And, you know, they were able to get the win against Jacksonville State, which is great because we needed that win over what we believe is a weaker Conference USA, which is why we got a win over Liberty in a weaker Conference USA, right? But Jacksonville State has been a scrappy kind of upstart team that can, you know, that had over 300 yards rushing against Liberty, right? And so they gave up 400 yards, did Georgia Southern. They gave up 400 yards of total offense to Jacksonville State, 214 of that on the ground. Right. And again, Jacksonville State also had explosive plays.
Yeah, they had a running back go 21. He had 21 carries for 129 yards rushing. You know, we talked about our running backs who typically don't get over 100, not as a diss or they can't. It's more because we have running back by committee. We have multiple guys going for 80, 70, 75, 65, 99 yards, right? And so when you combine multiple fresh legs compared to just one guy getting 21 carries, but you got one guy getting 19, another guy getting 13, compared to what they did with Jacksonville State, where that guy had 130 yards rushing, man, we got fresh legs coming into the game almost every play.
Yeah, heck yeah. And, you know, I just think that for this this Georgia Southern team, man, they struggled against Maine. I mean, I know it looks like the final score, it looks like Georgia Southern blew them out.
Right.
It was 24-17 late in that third quarter, and Maine was hanging tough with Georgia Southern. I mean, I was kind of like, come on, guys. Like as much as I wanted to see Maine kind of hang in there, I also need Georgia Southern to be better than that so that when we beat them, it means something, right? I keep going back to that.
I was just going to say, I you know, from what I've seen on the film so far, I do think that we control the game through the run game. We
Yep.
get Alonzo Barnett comfortable with play action passes, but also not get too carried away with play action passes, because and what I mean by that is let's establish some rhythm first with some easy pass completions, right? Because typically when you go into a game like this where you feel like you can have explosive plays, you start looking for those explosive plays and you start calling those explosive plays, and now all of a sudden we are explosive play minded instead of just taking what the defense give us, right?
Right.
And so I do want to, I think that's the trap of what could possibly, be at one of our miscues. And so we have to be careful of not being overly aggressive, because going into this game, I think everybody knows it and everybody has seen it based on what we've seen so far, is this defense gives up explosive plays. And so the other thing that I see is you can probably expect some motion from us this game. Georgia Southern does a lot of rock and roll, the safeties, where, one safety will be down, and as soon as we shift over to the other side, then they'll just rock and roll, and that other safety comes down. That can now create one-on-one matchups over there with our wide receivers. When you start rocking and rolling, create some one-on-one matchups on the other side. That can create some confusion on the defensive side, and it also can create better run gaps to the side away from the rock and roll, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And so,
Makes perfect sense.
I believe that. I'm going to just say this. I think that this has a chance to be our best offensive performance so far.
I think you're right. I mean, again, their coverages, if they run the same coverage they ran against, Georgia, USC, I mean, a lot of 2-man and man free, I think we're going to have a field day with that. And I also think that, this is an opportunity. You said you spit a bar. I don't know if you know it, but, let's not try to get the explosive play. If you watch the explosive plays that this team has given up, they were not like deep bombs down the field, 9 routes, right? They were, I'm just going to hit a receiver across the middle of the field, and Georgia Southern has tackled terribly this season. They just missed tackles. So get the ball to a Mikey Scott over the middle and just let that guy, he'll catch a 5-yard pass and take it 90 to the house. And I think that's where the explosive plays are going to come. It's not necessarily trying to take the top off the defense. It's just get the ball in space to our playmakers, and they're going to make explosive plays. Yeah. There were several times against Liberty where we took shots where I didn't think we necessarily needed to take the shots. And Barnett and the receivers didn't connect on those, right? Very close a couple of times, but I don't know that we necessarily need that. Take the shot every now and then. I felt like we took a lot of shots that were kind of unnecessary. What do you think about J.C. French, their quarterback?
Yeah, I mean, I think that he has, from the stat line, he got what it takes, right? He got what it takes to be explosive, to make all of the throws. I think that we have to be sure that he's the difference maker, and they also use him in the run game as well. And so we have to ensure that he does not beat us with his feet, because he absolutely can make every throw. And so I believe that he's the X factor going into this game. I trust our defense. I trust our defensive game plan. I trust our defensive players. I think a guy like Jacob Thomas, having an eye out on him every play is going to work to our advantage. Not necessarily having a linebacker spy him or anything, but having like a secondary, because why? Our defensive backs, DJ Barksdale, our defensive backs have done a tremendous job all year. Again, we talk about that second level. That second level, they can tackle, but they also can cover. And so I do believe that we're going to have to maybe spy on their quarterback this game and ensure that he does not beat us with his legs, but also trust our defensive backs that they'll get the job done.
Yeah, I'm not even concerned about him as a runner so much. I mean, I think he can extend plays because he's athletic enough to do that. I am very concerned about his ability to pass. I think that guy is very, very streaky. Like, if you watch him play, when he's hot, bro. Yeah. He's hitting people. When he's not, he's not. And he throws a lot of bad balls, and he'll throw it to us, not like deflections, but he'll throw it right to us at times. And so I think the defensive game plan has to be kind of like that Louisville, confused Miller Moss game plan. I want to see J.C. French look the exact same way Miller Moss looked in that game against Louisville. confused a lot of times, not really knowing where to go with the ball. But I want to get more pressure on him than we even got on Miller Moss.
Yeah.
Now, they also have a very capable running back in O.J. Arnold. He's not quite a home run hitter, but the bro he got wheels, man. Like, he can hit a home run. And so, I think it all starts with our ability to stop that run. If we can do that effectively, then I think that'll have ramifications in their passing game.
For sure. Yeah, I think that, obviously going into this game, we have a lot of momentum on defense, and just as a team completely, not just on defense, right? We have a lot of momentum, and we got to establish that early on. I believe we didn't score in the first half of last game. The last year we played them, we didn't score a single point, right? And not to go back to offense, but that has an effect on your defense as well. And so we have to start fast in all phases of the game and not give this Georgia Southern's football team hope that or give them confidence that, oh, this is the same JMU. Because they're thinking in their mind, hey, these guys come in with all this flash, they come in with all this noise, and yet we take care of business majority of the time, right? So if you're one of their players, you're looking forward to this game because you know that everybody's watching this game, and you know that you're usually the party pooper, right? You're usually the guy that's pooping on the parade, and they've done a great job so far, and they have our number, and so we got to be sure that we don't give them the confidence early on to believe that they're going to win this game.
Yeah. Well, their weakness, again, is their defense, man.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't get any pressure on quarterbacks, or they haven't so far. They got 4 sacks and 8 TFLs through 4 games. I mean, that's like a good game for most, defenses, right?
Right.
But they only got 4 sacks. And, they do have 4 interceptions. Their DBs play very physical. I think one of their linebackers has an INT, and 3 of their cornerbacks have interceptions. So they do play very physical at corner.
Yeah.
They just don't tackle very well. So we can get out in space. I'm telling you, we get some of our athletes, DeGennaro, Landon Ellis, we get these guys moving. They will not get tackled in their secondary.
Yeah, man.
So I am expecting again, you said it, a big game from JMU. I do think this has the opportunity to be our biggest offensive performance. And if our defense can pitch a shutout in this game, I think we kind of look like USC against them. I think we got better athletes. I was looking at Landon Ellis this week. That ball that he caught, over the middle. You know who he looked like to me? And he looked like Elijah Surratt. Like he is like a big physical receiver, much like Surratt. And he's got strong hands. The guy snatches the ball out of the air. And he also wears the same number that Surratt wore at JMU.
Yeah.
And so, man, Landon Ellis is only a junior. He's got one more year to play football.
Right.
Hopefully that last year is in Harrisonburg.
Absolutely. I mean, that was a great compliment, though. Elijah Surratt had an unbelievable career at JMU and really was the go-to guy. And so
he's crushing it at Indiana.
And he's still crushing it. Every time I turn on Indiana's film, I just see the guy. He's just making plays. And so
Waffle House. Open 24/7, right?
Yes.
I mean, what a great nickname, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Man, that's a great segue, though, to what you talking about, Willis.
Big win, huge play. Don't just remember it, wear the moment. Breaking Team makes shirts that capture the game's biggest highlights right as they happen. Gear up today using the link in the description. College football's back, and it's time to upgrade your game day gear. Right now, claim 15% off at Home Field. The best retro and vintage apparel in the game. Rep JMU in style. Don't wait. Check the link in description to get your 15% off.
What you talking about? What you talking about? What you talking about? What you talking about, Willis?
All right, so my what you talking about, Willis, this week, that, this is going to sound like Signetti hate, but you brought him up. So I'm gonna bring him up, all right? But my what you talking about, Willis, man, is to the Associated Press for voting Illinois number 9 in the country, right? Like, what exactly has Illinois done to be the number 9 team in the country, Vad? What has Illinois done this season to be a top 10 team in the country? I'll tell you what they've done so far, and then you tell me what they've done.
Let us know.
They beat FCS Western Illinois, right? They beat a bad Duke team, right, which looks like a pretty bad Duke team, who lost to Tulane, right? And then they also beat, hang on, let me see, who else did they? Oh, I'm sorry, MAC Conference, Western Michigan. So they beat an FCS team, they beat a bad MAC team, and they beat a bad ACC team. And they go into this Indiana game. They're the number 9 team in the country. So what does that mean now for Indiana? Indiana goes and blows them out. Now Indiana gets all this swag for blowing out a top 10 team that hasn't proven anything on the field. And this goes back to what we talked about last week. Let's throw out all these rankings because now Indiana is going to ride that wave of we beat a top 10 team who probably won't even finish in the top 25 poll this year. Watch what I tell you. Mark my words. What is today? September 22nd, 2025. Illinois will not finish in the top 25, but Indiana, when it comes down to it and the committee is voting, they're going to be like, oh, they beat number 9 Illinois. What you talking about, Willis, AP?
Yeah, I get it. But and by the way, that was Coach Signetti's, I think while he was at Indiana, that was his first top 10 win. I think he was 0-2.
It's not a top 10 team. It's not a top 10 team, bro. What have they done to be a top 10 team?
On the stats, it says that, he just beat a top. So quite a resume. But I will say, bro, they blew them out. Come on now. That was impressive.
I agree.
That was an impressive win. Now, should they have been top 10? I don't know. However, are they a top 25 team? Maybe, yes. They blew them out. So we got to give some credit where credit's due. And maybe it's because I spent the year at Indiana in Bloomington, Indiana, serving as the team chaplain. And also after that, I spent the year with Coach Signetti at JMU as the team chaplain. So maybe I'm a little –
You're such a homer, bro.
I got to keep it cool on the To The House podcast. I got to keep those flames. I got to keep the extinguisher and keep those flames down because, bro, you be coming for them. But
I don't want to get you canceled.
I watched that game, and it was an impressive win. And it was Signetti's fashion. I brought him up earlier because I think we can learn from the old guy. He knows how to control the game. Dude's
an amazing coach.
It's almost like – at Georgia Tech, I was a triple option. I ran the triple option offense, and most of the time, we won the possession of the game. Most of the time, we had the ball more than the other team, and it almost like Coach Signetti has that mindset where it's like we control this game and how it goes. Like they could have had all stars on their side, but we kept them on the sideline because we were kind of controlling the clock. And it seems as though that Indiana is a much better team even from last year because they have more of a mobile quarterback, right? And their quarterback did an amazing job last year. But you add the mobile element to the college football game, hey, there might be an opportunity here for the guys. So we will see.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if Illinois was a top 10 team, but
Illinois not a top 10 team.
We'll see.
And by the way, man, I agree with you, man. Signetti is a phenomenal football coach. Like the one thing I always appreciated about Signetti when he was here is that I always trusted the game plan.
Yeah.
Like I always knew the team was going to be prepared to play. At that point, it was a matter of whether or not the team executed.
Yeah.
He never won the big game at JMU. Just want to put that out there. I mean, unless you want to give him the UVA game, which we should have been favored in that game probably.
Oh, man.
And we almost lost it. But I will give him props. He did not blow out a top 10 team. He blew out probably, a really good Big Ten team, but not a top 10 team.
Yeah.
Sorry. What you talking about, Willis?
Well.
What about you? You got what you talking about, Willis, this week?
I do and don't at the same time because of the nature. I kind of like keep in mind with the game because of the nature of Liberty and JMU. There's a lot of talk right now about Liberty should fire their coach, Jamie Chadwell. In my mind, that is a unbelievable. What are you talking about, Willis? Right?
I agree.
I get that they might be having a down year. They lost their quarterback to Colorado. this guy was a phenomenal player who's now the starting quarterback at Colorado. They lost a lot of talent on defense, and so I get they might be having a down year, but Jamie Chadwell, it fits the Liberty mode, right? He fits who they want to be and who they are. I mean, just a couple years ago, they were playing in the Fiesta Bowl, and they kind of give us, as JMU folks, they give us a little hope in terms of the dream big. Why not?
Yeah.
Dream big.
Yeah.
Because it's possible to do. And so, when you look at Jamie Chadwell, his track record, 13-1 in 2023, 8-4. So far they're 1-3 this year, but this guy is just a winner everywhere at Coastal, 11-1, 11-2, 9-3. He had one bad season, 5-7, which was the first year, but this guy has won all over. Charleston Southern, it's right down the street. I work closely with them. 10-3, 8-4, 10-3, 7-4. Those guys they've lost their, they've lost their last 14 out of 16 games right now, and so that's a tough place to win. And so anyway, when I think about Coach Jamie Chadwell, I just want to give him some props. I know that it's hard losing to your rival, right? I know it's hard losing to another in-state team. It seems like they're having a down year. I'm not sure where it goes for them from here, to be honest. But what are you talking about, Willis? I mean, firing head coach Jamie Chadwell, I don't think makes sense for the Liberty football program, and I feel like that will set them back if they made a decision like that.
I completely agree, man. That would be throwing the baby out with the bathwater, and I think Jamie Chadwell is a very capable coach. So I agree. That is absolutely what you're talking about, Willis. All right, Vat, I'm going to take us to the house. We're a little over time today, man. I love that we've been rolling, man. We got into this conversation, and that's why I'm going to keep this to the house very short and sweet, man. But you know that this week is family weekend in Harrisonburg, and so I just want to encourage all the students and all the parents, enjoy your family. Right? Parents, I want you to enjoy this time with your kids, and I will tell you as a dad who now has a kid at UNC Chapel Hill, I understand what it's like to not have that kid at home and then go to college and then get a chance to be around them. So I want to encourage you to enjoy your family this weekend. So kids, enjoy your parents. They're going to take a lot of pictures, right? My daughter won't let me take pictures every time we see her. She's like, Dad, stop taking pictures. But take all the pictures, right? Let them, in the words of Mel Robbins, let them, right? Corny selfies, the candids, the pics in front of the Duke Dog statue in front of Plecker. Take all the pictures. I promise one day you will be thankful that you did. Now, the one thing I'll say about family weekend, because this always happens every year, there's parents who went to other colleges. So if you are a parent who went to a different college other than JMU, which there's a lot of you out there, bro, don't wear your school's gear to a JMU football game. Like, this is not the time to roll up in Bridgeport Stadium with your UVA ball cap on, right? Throw some purple on, man, and keep it moving. I get it. It's hard. It's so hard for me to put on UNC Chapel Hill gear when I go to a UNC game, but I do it for my daughter, and you should do it for your children, right? And then lastly, let's get in the game early. Let's stay the entire game. They moved the kickoff to 1:30, which gives you plenty of time for dinner after the game. So be loud and proud and root like crazy for the Dukes, which brings me to my last point, Vad, before we finally take it to the house. Don't let your parents say roll Dukes. Like, I'm seeing this pop up all over the place. It's never been roll Dukes. It's only go Dukes. All right. So that, any thoughts about roll Dukes versus go Dukes?
Hey, man, we do have our coach came from Alabama. Our defense coordinator came from Alabama. But no, it's all go Dukes, man. Go Dukes. Family weekend. I'm excited to check you out. Is the game on ESPN Plus? Where is it?
We're on the Ocho, baby. I'm back on the Ocho, so nice. I'll be there.
Nice. Awesome. Well, I certainly look forward to catching you up in the box and hearing from you and having dialogue. And, man, I'm excited for JMU to keep it rolling. Family weekend, go have fun, go celebrate, have a good time with your child. I won't even go there. Have fun tailgating with your child, too. You might see your child in a different element as well. But have a good time. That's it.
Exactly. Don't spill any secrets. All right, Vat, we have taken it to the house, man. This was a lot of fun. See y'all in Harrisonburg on Saturday. Let's beat Georgia Southern. Go Dukes.
Go Dukes.
To the House is part of the JMU Sports News Podcast Network. Be sure to subscribe to the JMU Sports News Podcast Network to never miss an episode. To the House dropping in your podcast feeds every Monday night, and new episodes of the JMU Sports News Podcast coming in the middle of every week. To the House is produced by Jack Fitzpatrick, hosted by Delvin, Joyce, and Vad Lee. To the House is part of the JMU Sports News Podcast Network. Be sure to like, rate, and subscribe wherever you find your podcasts. And be sure to follow To the House on Twitter and Instagram at JMU To the House.